everybody. This is Dan and Denny from the Final Cut. I want to say Final Cut Pro. From Final Cuts podcast. And it's our next episode. And we're going to talk about what, Denny?
Well, I'm glad you said what, because if you would have said, hey, I'm serious, then suddenly your Apple Watch or your computer would be going, oh, and I'm looking for Sirius. And you'd hear somehow out of nowhere comes AI and listening like Siri or Google, like, hey, Google and hey, Siri. But there's been this quirky thing going on where you might be sitting there and all of a sudden, like we were yesterday, we were sitting there and we were just talking about some work and suddenly my watch chimes in.
That was so weird. You know what? You said podcast, and it just started playing a podcast.
No,
it's not
somebody else's podcast.
Right. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be like I don't want to say it now. Hey, Siri, because she'll hear me. But you have to say that. Oh, look at, she heard me right there. I couldn't even say it quiet. She heard me. So
hiding my watch and phone right now. Yeah.
I know, it's annoying. So anyway, that's a concern, and we're seeing it online as well, where there's a lot of people that are saying their phones are just doing things without their command, and it's not right. And
there's some quirky things going on with the programming and the algorithms in that system. And there wasn't even an article in was it Forbes? I think I sent you about that.
Yeah,
talked about the quirkiness in it. It's just one of those things that has to happen or happens to happen. But, does it go deeper than that? I don't want to be like a conspiracy. I don't want to be like a conspiracy theorist, but, is there more listening than we know about? I don't know. It's funny. It's not the first time that it's happened. It's happened, let's say not, daily, but I'd say at least a couple times a month, I get these weird things. You might be watching television and even something is set on TV.
Right.
Next thing you know, you're getting ads from, something that was mentioned on television.
I have to hide the microphone again. So every time on TV, when they say the word Siri, my phone goes off every time. So it's really weird, and it shouldn't be doing that because there's supposed to be voice recognition to only pick up your voice. Whenever I say Siri in the car and my wife's, look at her, she got on again. Is that crazy? And when I say it in my car with my wife in the car, her phone answers. That's really weird.
Yeah.
Really weird.
And reading a little bit about that was the data collection. Siri and Google are into the world of data collection. So we're part of that data, but also in voice recognition and visual recognition. It keeps building. The AI keeps building a bank of data on your voice and recognizing certain tones and certain elements, and then when certain things might be mentioned, like, I'm talking about maybe golf. The next thing I know, I'm getting a little buzz on golf here. And like, why is that? As a matter of fact, as I'm speaking right now, I just looked at my phone and Siri is listening.
No.
Hey, Siri, what's the weather outside?
The only time she wants to answer, she won't answer.
1 sec.
She was busy listening. Now she's 1 sec.
Really busy recording.
Still on it.
Still on it.
You know what? Point her,
Siri.
Point the phone out the window. Maybe she'll see it.
Let's try again.
Something went wrong. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. And it's really weird. And let me try one really quick. Hey Siri, are you recording me all the time?
I respect your privacy and only listen when you're talking to me. You can learn about Apple's approach to privacy at apple.com.
Well, that's a nice generic term that they...
Well, you can turn off auto on, too. You can turn her off.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was weird. Yesterday, your podcast, we couldn't shut it off. It was it's like it went on out of the blue, and then you couldn't shut it off, and we couldn't find out where it was or anything. So it was
That's correct. I mean, we went to YouTube, it wasn't there.
yeah,
Went online, it wasn't there, and it was very strange. But so, all in all, what does this mean? In terms of data collection and what people know about us, not only people, just
right.
the world of data. That's it's the root of Apple, it's the root of Google, and the other apps that are out there, the other platforms that are gathering this information about what you do and where you look and what you do on a daily basis. It's fascinating.
It is fascinating and dangerous and scary all at the same time, because you really don't know what is being recorded and what's not being recorded, and what they say with TikTok they're trying to ban it and all those things. And so far, I found it to just be slightly entertaining. But
Let's look at it now. From it reminds me of the good old Wizard of Oz, and there's the witch looking into the world on the crystal ball.
Right.
Those little flying monkeys are behind her, and they're all giggling and laughing. But we don't have that happening. But we do have this crystal ball that is you, and where all these little mini crystal balls running around everywhere. And now it's the data that's coming out of you, where you're searching, looking for information. All of that's being gathered about your lifestyle and your preferences and where you go on the web. And so, if you look at it from a marketer's standpoint and go, okay, friend of the devil is a friend of mine.
That's a song.
Point of phrase. Oh, here comes the song. No.
Yeah, right.
It's where you can use this information through the media side, and let's bring it around to video. We did a campaign, and I don't want to get into all the particulars on it, but there's geofarming and geofencing, and we selected certain with videos. We had 15-second videos that was a bank of different messages, but all coming back to this brand. And we wanted to look for lifestyles in a certain area by zip. Well, not only that, it was kayaking, it was mountain biking, and we wanted to target certain people in a certain demographic in a certain area who did searches with those terms. And then, of course, feed the ads based on those searches. And it's amazing. I mean, it is amazing how much we were able to reach people with that program. And not only that, was it let's call it in the presence, but from geofarming, as I kind of view that, we went back in time, where people may have gone to an outdoor show. And in that location where they were in that outdoor show for, whatever the activity is, we can go back and grab that data too on their search and then feed it again when they're up and running. And so it's a fascinating thing. But then you have all of this measurement that you can utilize for marketing.
Right. So everybody out there, if you've had this situation, feel free to add it in the comments and also subscribe to find out more on this. From my standpoint, I've had good parts and bad parts of that. I get a lot of random texts and things like that, which didn't have anything to do with what I was talking about, or was looking for. Yeah, it had nothing to do. You know what? I keep deleting them, and I just keep getting the same thing. I get the one all the time. Did you qualify for the $26,000 credit from the government? I probably get 2 of those a day on my phone. So you got to be really. Good point to bring up is you got to be very careful with you keep your phone number out anywhere, because in the fine print it says we can spam you, we can do this, there's nothing you can do about it. And if you ever try to go back and get to them, you've approved it. You approved the terms of the agreement. So
the other thing too is you do get those questions when they pop up if you're going onto a certain site or you're using an app. And how many apps do we get involved in now?
Yeah.
Where we allow this app to track your location and movements. And that's where you might have gone past something and didn't click it. And the next thing you know, your little non-click turns into a lot of spam before you know it. I just downloaded an app for Universal Studios because I'm just looking into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I made sure I was clicking on don't allow this app to track me everywhere and go now. And
Yeah, that's right. If you go there, it would be constantly bothering you, I'm assuming.
well, but then that might be a good thing. It might be a good thing when you're there. But if you're not there, I don't want to be bombarded over the next 6 months with everything that's going on at Universal Studios.
Well, you might get coupons, which would save you money there.
That's right.
A good
That's
thing,
right. Yeah, but no, on the other hand, in a trade show world, downloaded an app for a trade show. I wanted to be notified while I'm there using the app. And you can do that with any app, but I wanted to be notified so that, hey, in 15 minutes, this conference is coming up in all 108B or something like that. Or, hey, this thing is happening over in booth, 2002. So it's very helpful. And you can build your schedules and you do all these things with an app for a trade show. And that it's tracking you, but it's also helping the trade show organizers get a handle on, or the meeting organizers get a handle on, who's doing what and where. And it comes in handy. Plus, you can have interactive contact with other attendees. So there is some useful tools from that standpoint.
Right.
Take that across the board. There's a lot of things that can be done with these apps. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Healthcare, another one.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah. You know what? I don't know where it's going to go, with AI coming into play now. I think that's another thing that's going to be a big factor in, the big brother, so they say, listening in all the time. It may start doing things like, just assuming what you want and then start sending you information through that mode that it feels you would be trying all the time.
Well, yeah. Well, recently, this leak of the government's, top security, top secret documents. Yeah. It's incredible how that actually got out. You have a person who's in the military who is, somehow he has access to these things and he's in his own chat room. I mean, I have a chat group with fraternity brothers, and we communicate a lot of times. There's 16 of us in there. Mm-hmm. But, if something were to come into my or any one of their realm with information that might be something that's sensitive, they send it to us. Suddenly we're subject to that. Or is it something in other countries where it's anti-government and you have this chat room and is it being tracked? It may be. Is there plants? Are there outside, let's call it bad actors, as they say, like China and Iran and Russia, that, they're after our databases to really, hack in and put in disinformation as well.
I got to say one thing that with TikTok, 90% of it's harmless, but there's another 5 to 10% that's really weird. Every so often I'll pop it up and it shows U.S. government being attacked by blah, 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 it makes up things. And, I would just click through it because I know it's not right. But just think of all the thousands of people that might believe it. I see where the government may want to ban that just for that simple reason. It's just it's so easy to put propaganda in there, and really with any of the social media, although it's starting to seem to be getting regulated a little more. But yeah, TikTok's like just this wild, wild west right now, and it's very weird.
Well, the Big Brother side of it, certainly, there are certain influencers and podcasters out there that have huge thousands, maybe millions of followers. And, without mentioning names, some of them may kind of go off to the conspiracy end from time to time, or some might be that's what they're all about. Do you think the government might be, maybe kind of just tapping into that a little bit and their listeners to see who's who, to see who might be, militia-like, who knows? I mean, and it's not bad.
And truthfully, I'm not necessarily against that. I mean, I'm cool with it because, it's one of those things that, if it's protecting our country, if it's protecting what we're doing, so be it, I mean, your life's an open book anyway, for the most part. I mean, that's just my opinion of it. People.
There's so many doors open, literally, that you have to have means to see where there might be a nucleus of something that could really go bad, from a terrorism standpoint, from those who may be coming across the border, crime, trading, drug trade, all of that.
Well, the other thing that really flips me out is like all these mass shooters, they all a lot of them post on Facebook or prior to what they're going to do. You mean in this infinite knowledge and wisdom of AI we have right now, we can't flag that and find out before it happens and catch these kids when they do this stuff? Because it's mostly kids, for the most, right? I mean, why is it so difficult to do that? I'm sure they're working on it, but that would solve a lot of the problems, right off the bat, in my opinion.
It's a situation today that the media is now run by individuals. What I mean by that is everybody has access to public media through their phones and through their computers.
Yeah.
And social media platforms give them an opportunity to have an audience and a following.
Right.
The more they position themselves as experts, or the more they do crazy things on Twitter, or not Twitter, but in TikTok, then you get followers, and then it grows from there. There's an interesting podcast called Down the Rabbit Hole. I remember sending it out a while ago. It was a couple of years ago, but it's how the internet and our ability now to be able to broadcast not only audio but video has changed the world dramatically. And you can follow anyone, anywhere, doing anything, anytime, and then build followings on top of that, depending on what you have to say or know or do.
Yeah. Plus,
every once in a while I look at different how-tos on music, and you see, a how-to, and you look down the list on YouTube, and you go, 341,000 views. They must know something.
What's viral? I think the whole thing is it goes viral, and it's like crazy on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I see that a lot with some of the different posts. You look at them and go, how could this possibly get so many? Now, granted, I have a funny feeling they use robots for some of the stuff, but still, when it goes viral, it's being shared a lot.
Yeah.
Shared everywhere.
Well, that's the thing. The robots are there to filter out some of the possible negative things or hate things that could lead to something. So, people chatting and doing things that go into another realm of what is sort of just kind of against the grain a little bit. Are the robots just flagging it and then it goes to another level? I don't know. I'm just not in that world, but I do know that if I were to say the word, it would pop up. So AI is not going to go away, and all the other elements that are coming around now with Chat GPT and DALL-E, being able to just create things from nothing, other than you still have to send the spark in of what the content is, and then it goes from there. But yeah, it's a fascinating world.
I think it just creates a whole new level of competition in the marketing world, and he who learns it faster than the next guy is going to be ahead in that game. So that's a good lesson for any new marketers out there. Get on the bandwagon and,
you mentioned that in terms of competition, and then let's look at it from a business standpoint. Should a company, no matter the size, have its own influencer? And I'm not thinking about it, but building its own influencer. It might be a remodeler in a certain area, and you basically, even if it's not you, the owner, you have someone that's their duty is to get online continually with information about remodeling and becoming like the expert, almost like this old house guy,
Yeah.
So,
I guess the way I look at it is if the company can afford to do that, go for it. I mean, that's,
as long as maybe somebody in the company becomes that. Yeah. Someone in the company does it.
as long as you're not lying to the public either, because, you know, if you start saying stuff that you can't do, or the guy says it or the woman, you know, you'll get found out pretty quick. And that could be the worst. That could be worse than anything else that could happen, you know, because everybody knows 250 people.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if you heard yesterday on the news, they had a guy that was just screaming at an airplane about this baby that was next.
Yeah.
But think about that guy forever, you know, will be known, you know, everybody around him knows who he is, you know, for screaming at that, you know, it's a baby screaming. And the guy at the newscaster's like, have you ever heard of earplugs? You know, it's a flight. The baby's screaming because his ears are hurting, right?
You know, they do have ear headphones on the airlines.
Anything. So,
well, you know, I was going to mention about the influencers within a company. Landscapers, of all things, would you think that landscapers would become influencers? It's amazing how some of them, if you go online and look at YouTube, you will see some of these landscape guys with 50, 60, 70,000 followers across the country, and they're giving out lawn and garden tips or, you know, equipment tips. They have followers everywhere. Last year I was in Louisville at the outdoor show there, and they had a special section on influencers, and they had these influencers that are the leading ones in that industry do a seminar. Now there were 20,000 attendees at this show, but at that seminar, there were 3,000 attendees. Out of that 20,000 that went to this, you know, big hall, and these guys were up on stage just, you know, they're kind of like stars of the industry because of their presence online and how they position themselves. Well, they, you know, they just don't do it instantly. You start, and then it builds from there.
Right. Plus, there's so much. There's big bucks in landscaping. You know, you think about it, people putting $50,000 into their yard. It's like not uncommon in certain neighborhoods, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, these guys are there to talk about things from labor to, you know, how they run their business and how they grow. And people want to know. They really do want to learn. So they start that online, and then now it grows into becoming guest speakers at conferences. It's amazing. Not only there in that landscape world, but across the board with a lot of different industries.
Yeah, right. That's cool.
Yeah. I guess the question is, do you have an influencer mindset? And even if you're not online, can you kind of think about being an influencer? Sure. You know, it's a matter of putting yourself out there.
And the other
doing a podcast.
Exactly. Not only doing one, but going on podcasts. That's really a big factor. I mean, you become an influencer by going on other people's podcasts that are bigger than yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing. Yeah. So, well, good. Well, Denny, is there any last minute comments here? Last things you want to talk about that, you know, moral of the story / while you're out there, beware of this, or comments?
Well, you know, I think, you know, some of us probably all been subject to having that, all of us have at some point been subject to having that little creepy thing happen where this voice pops up. You do have the option of going to your phone and turning it off if you want. But, you know, if you want to just think about what you're saying, and when you're doing it, just know that Siri, you may be listening, but you can't drink coffee. I can. There you go.
Very good. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on this next podcast. Feel free to leave comments and subscribe below. And we look forward to seeing you on our next podcast next week.
And got a message.
You got a message. Bye.
See ya.
All right. So I got to figure out how to shut this off. And well, I think that's it. I'll end it in a second. All right, Denny, I'll be in a little bit. Are you going to be around for a little bit?
Well, a little bit. I'm going to leave here. What time is it? Oh, it's only 10:30. Probably a little bit afternoon. Got a big, you know, day lined up here. I have to get some things done.
Right. You're going all day again?
Yeah, I'm going to pack things up today. You know, I've already packed up most of the truck for tonight's event. And
that's
been off. Yeah, playing like a birthday party, as I was saying. It is not very big, but is Eddie coming in here today, by the way?
Yeah, he should be
Is
here.
Eddie coming in?
He's going to be full throttle on Midwest for the next.
Oh, yeah. No, I just have to say, hey, Eddie, he's going to come tonight and do the sound.
Very good.
And that's basically it. But I don't need anything else other than that. And Alex, I had a little chat with him yesterday, and we just kind of looked at what he was doing. It looked pretty good. Yeah, he's doing different things now with the animation, and he was trying to look at how to do snoring. And I think we were talking about sound waves. You know how like you might have a flat line.
And he did that. It looks really good.
He did that? Yeah. And then it does that. That kind of gives you the idea.
Yeah. So we're going to run it by the customer. I'm going to get back to us soon. So, all right.
And that other thing, can you contact Cortec about getting that stock footage? Because I have the script. I'll just give it to you when you get in.
Yeah, it
just doesn't have that window with that futuristic thing on it.
Okay, sounds good.
See it.
All right, I'll catch up with you, Dad.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Right, see you, man. Bye.
Let's face it, everybody loves to make podcasts and vodcasts, but nobody wants to edit them. Well, except for us. At Premier Podcast Productions, we professionally edit and distribute podcasts and vodcasts for companies around the world. Our process is simple and affordable, allowing you to stay focused on what you do best, developing great content and building your subscriber base. From recording and editing to final distribution and marketing, we can help every step of the way to make your podcast stand out and get the results it deserves. Contact us today at premierpodcastpros.com to take your podcast to the next level.